What's up, you mutts? It's another episode of the Kevin Clancy Show. I'm coming to you recording this podcast as the world's worst taxpayer or the world's greatest taxpayer if you are the United States government and the IRS. I don't know what the fuck it is, but my taxes every year are a goddamn catastrophe. Every single fucking tax season is the book of goddamn revelations for your boy. Sound the trumpets, hear the angels of death, come on down and just fucking kill me every single tax season. It's insanity. It is insanity. I don't even want to tell you the amount of money I owe on my taxes because it makes me feel like I'm a stupid person. It makes me feel like I have to be doing something wrong, when all I want him to do is just take the right amount of taxes out of my paycheck. Just take the fucking full amount every 2 weeks, whatever it is. I'd rather deal with a little bit less in my paycheck than these gigantic fucking tax bills that I have no idea. I mean, I guess I should just set my watch to it every fucking year. I guess I should just know it's coming. But I'm like, well, maybe it'll be a little bit lower this year, or maybe I'll get lucky this year. Nope, it's higher every fucking year. It's insanity. And I go to my guy every year, Kenny, and he hooks it up. He's like the Saul Goodman of accountants. And he's like, I did everything I could, man, which makes me think, well, what if I was going to H&R Block? What if I wasn't going to Kenny? How much more could I possibly owe? I got a letter from these fucks that went along with the taxes this year that said, hey, for next year, how about we do this to fix it? Because they don't like this either. They want me to just pay the right amount. Fucking, I was like, it's like you guys to do that. I want that too. I'm not the one who's running the show here. I'll give you whatever. It's taxes, man. It's like the price of gas. I don't fucking know. I just have to pay it. I don't look at the price of gas because I'm like, I'm just gonna not have gas for my car. So I'll pay $3, $4, $5. It could be $10. It could be $20 a gallon. I'm going to fucking pay it. Same thing as taxes. You can tell me that it's a 75%. I'd be like, okay. But instead, you guys are just not taking. What is that about? So these fucks send me a letter that says, so next year, let's smooth things out a little bit. I think it was like in June, September, and then January, just pay these 3 chunks of money. These 3 enormous amounts of money to smooth it out. Or how about we smooth it out over 26 fucking paychecks, 26 fucking weeks, you goddamn assholes. Just take the right amount out each time. People like to talk money and salaries and shit. I have to pay more in taxes this year than I spent on a goddamn engagement ring. It's insanity. It's insanity. And I don't do, I'm not like buying businesses and stocks and bonds and fucking crypto. I have like minor investments here and there, and that's it. Not doing anything complicated. I haven't cashed in every fucking year there's been something. I used to get taxed in Massachusetts and New York because Barstool was in Boston, but I worked in New York, and that was always a fiasco. And then champagne problems, the churning thing happened, and that always fucked me. And then it just, it just because everybody always says, like, when you get married or you have kids, you own a home, that like it's for tax purposes. Well, where are they? And that's what I feel like a stupid person. And that ties into everything I've been talking about in this goddamn show for the past, I don't know, ever. Where it's just like, I just don't know what's going on in the world. I am just here on this side of things to commentate on it. And God willing, thank the Lord, I'm good enough at that, or you guys seem to think so that I can make a nice living and one day cash in. But some of me would like to be on the other side of things where it's like, you just know the game. Like, I can't even fucking pay my taxes, let alone wheel and deal and shake and jive, I'm never in on the scams by Hoj. I'm never in on like the up and coming thing, I mean, I say all that, and I know I'm lucky to be a part of Barstool, but other than that, and that's a big but it's nothing ever else, I'm never in on the get rich quick scheme. I'm never in on the loopholes. It's just like, yeah, you're going to get butt fucked every year by the government. And I know everybody does, but I feel like I get no lubricated butt fucked by the government. It's crazy. I did a spit take when I got the fucking number this year. I was like, this can't be right. I emailed back. I was like, no, you fucking, you put an extra zero in. No. Oh, fuck. I just want you to take. How sad is that? I'm just like, please just take the money from me now. Like, take the right amount. I'm begging you to just take the money. And then the audacity to be like, how about just 3 easy installments of fuck you, IRS. I am just so sick of not being rich. Oh God, the countdown is on. And then I feel like when I do eventually get some money that like I'll get butt fucked out of that somehow, because that's just what happens. You get butt fucked. I get butt fucked, I should say. I read up on this numerology shit. Someone was telling me about numerology. I don't really get it all, but there's this thing where you add up like your birthday and the this and the that, and then it gives you a number, okay? 0 through 10. And then it tells you what your path in life means. My number is 5, I think. And my path is one that I must repent for a past life. So things are going to be shitty for you in this life. And guess what? That checks out. Numerology, big old check in the maybe it's real box, because I must be repenting for some other goddamn. But fuck that. What is the point of reincarnation and rebirth and shit if you don't get to start fresh? Then you're not being reborn. You're just living one consecutive fucking shitty life. How am I supposed to, if I'm just paying for the sins of my last numerology life, then it's not a new numerology life. And if the goddamn government would just take the fucking money that they're supposed to, I wouldn't even be looking up my numerology. And I can't figure out, I got this Scofflaw thing right now. I got these tickets on my car that are so old that I went to pay for it online, and it said, no, you can't pay for this on the internet. You have to appear in person because of a Scofflaw. And then I looked up what that meant, and it basically is like an asshole law. Like, you're such an asshole that we need to like scold you in person. And I can guarantee you the amount of money that I'm going to have to pay on those tickets. Can I tell you something else? While I'm just airing out all of my stupidity and all of my bad luck, earlier this year, I dropped like $4,000 on Easy Pass, bro. Easy Pass. Back in the day, children, Easy Pass used to have a little gate, little thing to let you know you could go. And if your Easy Pass didn't work, it stayed down, which was always a catastrophe. If you had any anxiety at all, when you would get stuck at a toll booth because your Easy Pass didn't work for some reason, and you got 200 New Yorkers behind you ready to just get out of their cars and beat you to death with hammers, it's like, somebody come fucking help. You're contemplating just barreling right through the little barricade gate thingy. It is the worst. But it would let you know if there was a goddamn problem with your Easy Pass. Nowadays, we're just breezing through express lanes, and the only thing you might get is one of those little Easy Pass Go things. And every now and then it would say like, Easy Pass Low, or call the center, whatever. I don't know how long I must have just never been looking at that, but my Easy Pass didn't work for like, I don't know. It must have been like 6,000 years. And then I had Easy Pass in New York. I had Easy Pass in New Jersey. Like, I'm always scheming and scamming the exact wrong way. And then I go on the Easy Pass website, and it was like 200 tickets, all with the bill and then the late charge. It was like several $1,000s just to Easy Pass, which is, let me tell you, the worst bill in the world. Worse than taxes, because at least taxes is like, yeah, everybody has to do this, not everybody has to give Easy Pass several $1,000s. They must have been like, this is the best Easy Pass driver ever. He just doesn't give up, just doesn't pay his money, and then eventually has to give us thousands of dollars. Because if I did get pulled over, I was like, oh, it was something like I couldn't fucking register my car. That's what. So, oh my God, I'm just like admitting to crimes all over this podcast. But basically, long story short, I'm a scofflaw asshole who was paid thousands of dollars to Easy Pass, and I need to go get my car registered. This is why I need like an assistant, man. And I say this all the time. And then I get, you know what happens? I get like flooded with DMs of, God bless them, great fans and great kids who are like, bro, I'll be your assistant. I'm like a sophomore in college and I want to do it for you. And I'm like, do you think I need someone stupider than I am with less life experience to be I don't need an assistant. I need like a mother. I need a mother who just is with me. I just need to move back in with my mom. That's it. That's it, folks. That's the answer. The assistant, it's my mother. I'm just gonna pay her. You know, I need a momager. I need a Kris Jenner. I need a momager. So buckle up. My mom used to say this about Britney Spears all the time. When Britney Spears was spiraling, my mom would be like, all Britney needs is a mother and a schedule. She'll keep to your schedule. She just needs a mother. Well, guess what, Ma? You got your own member of the fucking pop culture entertainment world who's actually your kid who needs a mother. Jiminy Cricket. I'll tell you what, though. I know things ebb and flow for me, where it's just like when it rains, it pours. But then I get into a groove and like things turn up a little bit. It's like, you know, death comes in threes, like same sort of thing for me. It's like massive bills to render you poor come in threes. And then, you know, things, there's a little uptick. And it's always when I get on my HelloFresh kicks. HelloFresh is not just a meal service. It's a life service. Like some people, Bailey Carlin, he's like, you know, make your bed every day. It'll like change your life. Fuck off. Make your dinner every day, or a couple days a week. That's something that I think actually has some tangible value there. And HelloFresh is the best meal kit to do just that. You cook these meals like 20, 30 minutes max. And it's all these like, it's like traditional meals mixed with like foreign meals and like flavorful this and exotic that. They have a huge menu to pick from. You pick your meals, 2 people, 4 people, a family plan, whatever. It comes with all the pre-portioned, pre-measured ingredients. And so you don't even have to know how to cook. So you start, you know, you can't fuck it up. It's just like, oh, pour this whole thing in, pour that whole thing in. And every single night you're going to cook these nice, freshly prepared meals, which honestly, you feel like you accomplished something. You're not getting delivery every night. You're not eating shitty food. And it actually does kind of get you in a rhythm and kind of get you out of a funk if you're, I don't know, like in an absolute rut because you owe thousands of dollars to Easy Pass and the government. And the best part is HelloFresh is going to hook you up when you go to HelloFresh.com/12Clancy. That's 12 free meals using the promo code, using the URL HelloFresh.com/12Clancy, and then use code 12Clancy for 12 free meals. And the meals are for 2. So that's actually 24 free meals. So if you're living alone, you're getting food for like a fucking month. So use the vanity URL and the code 12Clancy and get HelloFresh, America's #1 meal kit in the world today. We got Joe Santagato on the program today. And I feel like Joe Santagato taught me an important lesson. And I feel like there's going to be a lot of fans of me and Barstool who are going to get to know him and like him and almost be like, how is Joe not at Barstool? Because he would fit right the fuck in. And Joe taught me an important lesson. Very funny dude from Brooklyn, like a New York guy, East Coast guy. He fit right in. The interview is hilarious. But Joe reminded me and kind of taught me that no matter like how it doesn't, I guess in this case, I'm talking about specifically the internet, how big you would get on the internet, how popular, well-known you get on the internet. There's always more people and something else out there and someone funnier and bigger and better and more successful that I had no idea. I didn't know about Joe. I found him on Instagram through like, you know, people tagging people, reposting people. And I see this very funny video. He did this video it's one of those filters on IG where like the question pops up on your forehead, and it was like Bible trivia. And he just, you know, like off the top was answering things obviously horribly. And it was funny as shit. So I click on his profile. It's got 1 million fucking followers on IG, like 900 something thousand followers. And I was like, what the fuck? New York dude, my age relatively, like on the internet at the same time, probably came up together. 1 million fucking followers, a podcast that's been on for years. Like, I watched his shit. He's got like good timing and good skill. I'm like, what the fuck, man? Like, here's a guy who blows my shit out of the water. And we talk about it a little bit in the interview. I didn't want to sound like a fucking asshole where I'm like, I don't even know who you were. It's like, yeah, well, who cares if you knew me or not, dude? I'm fucking bigger, better, and more successful than you. But I was like, you know, you find people on the internet is such a big place, and like the world in general. Like, I used to say this about New York City when Barstool moved to New York. Like, as big as we got in New York, there's going to be places and sects of the city that have no idea who we are. You go to like the Broadway clique, and they're not going to give a shit about like our sports, men's lifestyle, pop culture blog. You go to the hipsters in Brooklyn, and they're like, we don't even have the internet here. You go to like the finance section, like all we care about is cocaine and money. No, the finance section, they know Barstool. But you know what I'm saying? Like, there are just going to be people who, like, no matter where you get in life, there's always somebody bigger than you, better than you, more successful than you, richer than you. This was like, who are you? Oh, like, great. Nice to meet you. And Joe reminded me of that. Like, I was just like, this dude is absolutely fucking killing the game. And whether or not I had heard of him or knew about him or whatever, didn't even make one shred of difference. On Barstool, not on Barstool, hanging out with Barstool, a friend, not a difference. Dude just did it all solo dolo. I think he like, I forgot to ask him about him. I think he did something with The Rock at some point. That must have like blew him up. But like 1 million fucking followers for this dude. So a very funny interview, and like a guy that just is like none of it has gone to his head, just like down to earth, and he explains why. I thought very, very similar to my story and Fido Burke's story, like the normal people at Barstool. He's a funny fucking guy for sure. So Joe Santagato on the back end of the podcast. So very funny interview coming up at the back end of the podcast. But first, as the 1 minute man, is my job to keep you informed on all things popular at the moment, do all the research you don't want to do, and give it to you in short bites. So it's 10 topics in 10 minutes, brought to you by Cuts Clothing. Cuts Clothing, the only clothing I wear, because it's the only thing that fits for like a third, early, to anybody 30 plus. And you can wear it no matter what. If you're young, actually, anybody like 25 plus. I think 25 and under, you're still flashy and you're wearing ridiculous shit. And if your style is more low key, you can wear cuts no matter what. But you know, you're wearing like TikTok clothes and you just look ridiculous all the time because you're young and you can pull that off. Once you get to be a little bit older as a guy, if you're not like TikTok famous and you're just going to be a normal guy who wants to look sharp and look fresh, Cuts Clothing is for you. So especially now, for me, 36 years old, I just want to wear t-shirts, Henleys, and hoodies. I want to have them be like low key, sharp colors, everything look modern and sleek, but easy to pick, easy to buy. And that's what Cuts Clothing does. The only choices you have to make at Cuts Clothing is whether you want a V-neck, a crew neck, or the Henley buttons, or at the bottom, if you want it to be scoop cut, hem cut, split cut, that's it. Everything else is just plain, solid colors. You're not picking any styles, any ridiculous matching, this, that. Otherwise, that's it. T-shirts, long shirts, hoodies. That's it. Colors, they got to cover for you. Black, white, gray, blue, like the essentials. It is the essential clothing for the essential guy who just wants to look good and not have to put too much thought into it. And that's everybody, like I said, who's not, TikTok famous. Every normal guy, you're going to want to rock your Cuts. And right now, when you go to cutsclothing.com, they're going to hook you up with a discount when you use the promo cutsclothing.com/Kevin. That's cutsclothing.com/Kevin. You get 15% off the only shirts worth wearing. They are comfortable. They look sharp. They're like stretchy and form-fitting without like cutting you off in all the right spots. So as a 36-year-old dude, I look okay. And if you are in shape, you look even fucking better. So somehow they magically do like both. So cutsclothing.com/Kevin, get 15% off your, the only shirts worth wearing. That's cutsclothing.com/Kevin. All right. 10 topics, 10 minutes, where I never go over the 1 minute limit. UFC 261 was this weekend, a monster event that saw 3 title matches. Thug Rose won and stole the world's hearts. You had that dude break the fuck out of his leg, who was the opponent of Anderson Silva when He broke the fuck out of his leg. That's some sort of broken leg Final Destination. You had Usman fucking destroying Masvidal's face with that sweat and everything flying everywhere, sent into the shadow realm. But the one thing that jumped out at me was DC Daniel Cormier talking shit to Jake Paul. And here's the problem, I think now that we have reached the blogger boxing world where everything has become a celebrity match, so has all of the promo. Nothing's real anymore. I'm like, there's no doubt in my mind that Daniel Cormier wants to actually kill Jake Paul, but there's also no doubt in my mind that him running over and talking shit and getting up in his face and pointing the finger and Jake Paul just standing there like, I'm not even fucking scared of you, is because that everything is for promotion now. Everything's for the internet. Everything's for clout and followers and entertainment. And I get it. And that's why we're here. But also, there was a time in the world where we were dumb and naive and actually believed that they were like, oh my God, they're really going to fight right now. And now everything has been photoshopped or faked, or it's all an act, all a work. It's almost like once you get too savvy, you realize Santa Claus isn't real. Topic number 2, Elon Musk is going to be on Saturday Night Live, and the Saturday Night Live cast is not happy about it. A bunch of like cast members who, let's call a spade, are basically no names, posted on their social media reacting to Elon Musk saying he was going to be on SNL with kind of like one person said the only CEO I want to work with is Sherry O'Terry, like CEO Sherry O'Terry. And someone else wrote like a weird emoji and then they deleted them later. A lot of people don't like the comments that he made on the pandemic. It's like, just shut the fuck up, all of you. I'm not, Elon Musk too. It's like, just go make your rockets and your fucking cars. Don't act like you're the goddamn president. And then anybody on SNL who's now going to get all high and mighty about who they can joke with and who they can do their act with, like, shut the fuck up. You're not, it's not Farley and Sandler and like Will Ferrell, like the gods of SNL. You guys are like lucky to even be here. Be happy that the richest man in the world is going to bring some attention your way because you're desperate for it. And don't bring politics into your sketch show. Topic number 3, Japanese dude gets arrested after having 35 girlfriends with different birthdays for all of them so that he would get birthday presents all year long. There goes my hero. I don't know how you pulled this one off. I mean, Asian people are wacky, especially when it comes to relationships and sex and all that stuff. 35 different girlfriends. That means you're juggling 35 different birthdays. That is bananas. It's impossible these days to keep up and keep with all the different technology you have and all the different linked accounts and all the different, let me see your social media. What's your name? Like, I see your pictures. What's your this? What's your that? What's your at? This guy juggled 30. He had to have found the 35 stupidest chicks in Japan. I mean, straight up. That's got to be the 35 dumbest girls in the world. But could you imagine just rolling in 35 birthday presents every year? It maybe offsets the fact that you had to have 35 girlfriends that you were consistently talking to and giving enough attention to get birthday presents. Speaking of guys with multiple girlfriends, Blueface, the rapper, you know him from, well, no, you probably don't know him, but maybe you do if you're young and if you ever heard the song Bust Down Tatiana. That's him. I don't know. He fucking sucks. He's one of the new age rappers. Well, anyway, he's got a harem of bitches. He has like dozens of girlfriends. And the other day on social media, they were all going to get tattoos, Blueface tattoos. He was asking these girls, where are you going to get yours? Where are you going to get yours? They were like, on my neck, on my face, on my pussy. Whatever, fine. You know, a rapper with multiple girlfriends, not a big deal. Girls getting their favorite rapper and boyfriend's name tatted on them, not a big deal. What was crazy was that on the social media video, he showed their room. They were all sleeping in bunk beds. He must have had like 2 rows of like 10 bunk beds for all these chicks. It looked like they were in the Heaven's Gate cult. It looked like they were going to go to the Comet Hail Bop. Don't be surprised when Blueface's girls all end up like drinking the poison Kool-Aid, wearing Nikes and having a purple sheet over them. Because if you are a grown adult sleeping in a bunk bed, your life path has gone drastically wrong. Topic number 5, the Kardashians made a Instagram model delete their post saying that she fucked Tristan Thompson. So Tristan Thompson is Khloe Kardashian's baby daddy, one-time husband, and on again, off again. And he's an NBA ball player. So, you know, he's not the most loyal guy in the world. Well, latest IG girl says, you know what? I hooked up with him. The Kardashians made her take down the post and publicly apologize, which is basically, that's official. Kris Jenner and the Kardashians are like in the mafia, like where they just show up at your door and they're like, here's what's going to happen. Here's what you're going to do. You're going to take that down. You're going to apologize. That never happened. You never saw anything, right? You know, the thing that the guy did with the thing, that never happened, right? Yeah. You're going to go tell your family and friends, like, you're not going to take the stand, right? Right? You never saw nothing. You never fucked my baby daddy, right? And it's just like, that's all that matters to the Kardashians. Whether or not he actually fucked her doesn't matter. It's whether or not the internet believes it. Same thing with Khloe getting rid of that picture. It's like, was there a bad picture of you? Did that happen? Yes. The internet doesn't know. It never actually happened. So go ahead. You can fuck these IG models. Just don't have them speak on it on the internet. Otherwise, we're going to show up at your house. We're going to break your kneecaps and make you delete your IG post. Topic number 6, Chadwick Boseman gets denied at the Oscars. Big to do over this. Chadwick Boseman, everybody's favorite actor, tragically passed away, I think at the age of like 43. The Black Panther, and then he was in Ma Rainey's movie where like he delivered an unbelievable, moving performance about racial equality in America. And then the Oscars goes full heel and gives it to Anthony Hopkins for The Father. I kind of like the fact that the Oscars and the Academy are so stuffy and so by the book and by the rules. They don't give a fuck about like public favor. Like they've done it before where like there's a fan favorite, or like you've got to give it to Leo, you've got to give it to Scorsese. These guys deserve it. And the Oscars are just like, nope, not this year. And they just stick to their guns every fucking time, even in the face of death. Like, part of me's got to respect the fact that they are so legit about the craft that they're like, that we cannot be swayed by anything. But what you can't do is you can't build your whole promotional thing around Chadwick. I mean, they had his face in the black background for every promotion, every commercial. If you're going to use the guy, you got to reward him. If not, if you don't put him up there and plaster him all over that, and you think Anthony Hopkins gave a better performance, more power to you for sticking to your fucking old, stuffy, white-ass racist guns. Topic number 7, speaking of movies, ESPN's social media manager posted an all-time bonehead attempted nerd crossover where it said 2 years ago, they posted a tweet that said 2 years ago, the Avengers Endgame came out. Thanos called game. And they got like the date wrong and the movie wrong. Like it was 2 years ago since Infinity War. And the picture they put up was like Dwayne, like I think it was the Dwayne Wade shot where it looked like Thanos was like hitting a jumper and everyone was all I know is that ESPN tried to dive over into nerd culture and totally blew it, which I can respect. I respect both sides of this. I respect the fact that ESPN, normally being the sports mothership of the world, was like, we got to get in with the nerds, because guess what? Nerd culture dominates, from Thrones to Avengers to video games. Like, the nerds have taken over. So I appreciate them trying to dabble. And then I appreciate the nerd culture just stepping on ESPN's fucking throat, being like, no, assholes, wrong movie, wrong date, wrong picture. You suck. Stay out of our lane. Like, ESPN and sports and jocks have been dunking on nerds since the 80s with the Revenge of the Nerds type shit. Now it's true Revenge of the Nerds in 2021. You're trying to fuck with our world and you get it wrong? Fuck you, ESPN. Topic number 8, speaking of sports, Dr. J says that LeBron James is not a top 10 player of all time. He gave his all NBA first team and all NBA second team, which obviously is 2 sets of 5. LeBron James is not in there. Thereby, mathematically, you do it. Dr. J, LeBron is outside of Dr. J's top 10. I mean, you want to go viral, you want to get your clicks, and that's not what Dr. J is doing because he's an old head. But like, anytime anybody says something like this, you're going to get attention. And every time it's fucking stupid. Dr. J's like 1,000 years old now. Dr. J had like Elgin Baylor on his list, which Elgin Baylor could fucking ball. And I'm sure it drives guys like Dr. J and guys like Elgin Baylor in their time crazy when they never get the respect they deserve. But come on, man. I mean, he had like Karl Malone, Elgin Baylor, great players, no doubt. Better than LeBron James, dude. Like, spoiler, Dr. J. Nobody has ever been better than LeBron James, let alone 10 other dudes. You know, some of them you can make an argument for, Jordan and Magic, and, you know, that's really it. Dr. J is certainly not fucking 10 other guys. Let me tell you what. Baker Mayfield says he believes in UFOs and witnessed one the other day, and also believes in Sasquatch. Welcome to the team, Baylor. Welcome to the team, Baker. Where's the hat at? Shit, here it is. Welcome to the squad, brother. Team UFO, Team Sasquatch. I gotta be honest, even Sasquatch is tough for me on this one. Like Team UFO, no doubt. I mean, you know who else is on Team UFO? The fucking Navy, okay? Like the US government is literally saying UFOs exist. Now, you want to take it a step further to be aliens? We haven't done that yet. But anybody who's like, I don't believe in UFOs, you don't believe that there have been things flying in the air that have been unidentified? Because that's fucking happened. And the United States government and Navy has said so. Also, Tom DeLonge from Blink-182 did too, bro. Sasquatch is a bit tougher. Bigfoot, the Yeti, the abominable snowman. I don't even know if I'm on that one. And I wear a tinfoil hat regularly on the internet. But shout out to Baker for speaking his mind about ridiculous things like this. We love a good public figure who's willing to talk about, you know, the fringe shit of this world. That's how we legitimize the movement. And last up, I guess speaking of legitimizing, or in this case, delegitimizing, Tucker Carlson just babbling on Fox News about how you should report parents to the CDC if you see children wearing masks, because they've proven at this point that masks are nothing than a power tool used by the government to keep the people under it. I don't fucking know. Tucker Carlson doesn't even fucking know. Tucker Carlson is like a WWF wrestler up there just cutting a promo every time he's on TV. And I think Fox News has even said so in court cases. They've been like, yeah, no reasonable person actually believes anything we say here. And that's for all the networks, CNN, from the liberal side to the conservative side. My point here is, as a guy, one time I had a fucking internet troll call the Child Protective Services on me for a story I told about my kids on Twitter, just like a lighthearted story about one time when my daughter shit her pants. If you call Child Protective Services on somebody for a non-legitimate reason, like fucking someone wearing a mask, those parents should be able to hunt you down and kill you with their bare hands. Straight up. Tucker Carlson, if anybody calls Child Protective Services on another person at the behest of Tucker Carlson, you should get to kill those people and Tucker Carlson. That's it for 10 topics in 10 minutes. Let's get into our interview with Joe Santagato now. It is brought to you by Kendra Scott. Mother's Day is coming up a couple times a year. The podcast, we got to look out for the ladies. We got to look out for your girls. So whether it's Valentine's Day or Mother's Day, it's a holiday rolling around where you got to make sure you pick up something nice for the moms and all the women in your life who deserve it. Kendra Scott is affordable, high quality, modern jewelry that your girl is going to love. Your mom is going to love, your baby mama, whoever in your life, anybody who's a mom, who you want to appreciate, anybody in general who you want to appreciate. Doesn't have to be just moms. Kendra Scott is the go-to store for you when it comes to easy shopping for, like I said, affordable, beautifully crafted jewelry that any woman of any age is gonna like. You can do birthstone colors. You could do like the lighter things like birthstone gems, or you could do like straight up diamonds. You can do, you know, little earrings to like flashy pendants, rings, any type of jewelry, from big, small, or otherwise. They've got you covered for all the moms and all the women in your life who deserve it. The number one gifting destination, it's Kendra Scott. So go to kendrascott.com and use code Clancy and get 20% off. Certain exclusions apply. 20% off using the code Clancy. It's only valid through May 7th. So make sure you get your orders in now. One of those things, like, just stop what you're doing right now and make sure you get something for your mom or your wife, or your baby mama, or anybody who deserves it. And shout out to all the girls out there who are not able to have kids. You deserve something nice too. So keep those people in mind as well. Go to Kendra Scott and get nice jewelry for any of the women in your life. It's kendrascott.com, promo code Clancy for 20% off, valid through May 7th. Joe Santagato on the Kevin Clancy Show. Let's talk to him. Yo, what's up, man?
Yeah, do you want me to do headphones, or can I just go?
No, you can do whatever. It's just our setup over here. You can wherever we go. What's going on, man?
Chilling.
Thanks for taking the time.
Of course.
We got Joey Santagato. Joe Santagato on the Kevin Clancy Show. We drinking some kombucha or some shit?
Yeah, you know, I like to think about my gut health.
I know. You're one of these in shape guys, huh?
I mean, I would say if I had to put a number on the amount of weeks I work out every year, it would be like maybe just above 50%.
That's if I had to put a number on the weeks I work out, it's 0, brother. So in my mind, you're one of these guys who's in shape. You're a good looking guy. You're not skinny, fat. How old are you?
I'm 29.
Yeah, you motherfuckers in their 20s still. God damn it.
I'm
I really
crushing it.
hate
My
you.
last year.
Yeah. Are you gonna is 30 gonna hit you hard, you think?
I don't think so.
No,
I mean,
30
I think
didn't do anything for me. I was like, I don't know. I don't care. It's easy being a guy.
Everything else is meaningless after that, I think.
Yeah, well, I'm 36 now, and being on the wrong side of 35, like headed towards 40, that fucked with me a little bit. When I was like 40, yikes. That feels old as shit.
40 does.
That 4 handle is no joke, dude.
Yeah.
But cherish that last year of 20s. I feel like it's been a good one. I feel like, I mean, so I kind of stumbled upon you on just like Instagram, just like, from word of mouth and seeing people post and repost. But like, so I'm like, oh shit, this is funny. Click on your profile. You got 1 million goddamn followers. And I was like, shit, Joe Santagato is killing the game. You're doing some big things, man. So, yeah, I feel like 20, like how long have you been, like at it really?
I honestly like 10 years. So I
mean,
I feel like I'm one of the most under the radar kind
definitely.
But I definitely enjoy that. And I feel like that's on purpose.
That's the way. Yeah. Okay. So, I mean, I didn't want to come across as like, I didn't know who you were. And then all of a sudden I see all these followers, but you're like, you're purposely trying to like lay low a little while you still do your thing.
I never really, I didn't move to LA and start wearing leather pants and
right.
that whole thing. So like, I really have no interest in that. Like I was born and raised in New York, and I don't think I would ever like leave for
me too.
Like LA.
Are you still, do you like New York?
Yeah, I love New York.
Yeah. See, I'm not, my whole life is here. I was born in the Bronx. I lived here forever. So I'm not going anywhere. I went to school here. I never left really. We did for a split second. My dad had a job in Philly. So we lived outside of Philly for a couple of years. That was it. But I don't like the crowds, the prices, none of it. But I also am just like, I'm not going anywhere. Like it's just not happening.
The prices for everything around here, it's like ridiculous. But there is something comforting when you're like walking around the city of being like, pretty much 95% of the people in the city are struggling in the same way.
Yeah.
Like maybe different like levels or whatever, but it's like everyone's overpaying for some space.
Yeah.
And it's just like
everyone's walking around kind of like fucking shit. Everyone's just muttering under their breath. God damn it, motherfucker.
You have nothing to say to people. They're like, why do you live there? You pay this much for this space. And you're like, for whatever reason.
I just do. It's like, it's my entire existence. It's like, I don't care about what's going on in other cities or other places, or it's just like New York is what matters. But I also am not one of these guys. Like I'm not going to try to defend the things that are indefensible. It's like, yeah, I don't know. There's homeless guys who are going to like jerk off in front of you with a heroin needle in their arm. It just is what it is, man.
Like this.
Yeah, all of the time. It's just, that's what we do.
You step in shit, you're not sure if it's a human or a dog. There's these things come with the territory.
So yeah, like I said, I kind of found you like word of mouth, like clicking through accounts. And I think the first thing that really just had me dying was the Instagram like Bible quizzes that you were doing. And I was like, man, this motherfucker is funny. And then I started to, see the clips of the podcast. And who's your boy? What's his name? Is it Frankie or Joey?
Frank.
One of these Italian names. Frankie, Joey, Tommy. I don't know. One of you guys. You guys got. So how long have you two been doing it? Because when I saw that, I was like, these guys are either brothers, best friends, or have been doing this for a long time. Because you guys seem to have like the rapport.
Well, I've known that's my oldest friend. Like I've known him since pre-K. We were in pre-K together. And I used to do the show with Danny LaPriori. He's been over at Barstool.
Yes. That's right.
I used to do the show with him. And it wasn't until last summer that Danny stepped away from the show, and then Frankie kind of filled his position. So we've been doing it. It hasn't been a year yet, but knowing him my entire life, like it's, the rapport is already there. Was
he in like the content game too, or did he have like a normal life and then you were like, come on, ride with me?
Normal life.
Because what we do certainly ain't normal, brother.
Yeah, he still works a day job.
Love it.
But he when we were younger, my mom had gotten me a like camera that records on like cassette tapes.
Okay.
me and him used to record these like sketches and shit.
Got it. So you've always been one of these dudes who tried, you're trying to do funny shit and record yourself, make videos, make tapes.
Self-centered pretty much my entire life.
Yeah, oh yeah, you're right. I'm a raging narcissist. Sure, yeah.
What you're trying to say is that I only think about myself. That's all that matters.
See, I wasn't one of those guys. I never filmed. I never tried to do any of that like creative shit. It just kind of I just stumbled upon it. But I think it's cool when you see like people who were doing it as kids and then like you're doing it now for real. It's like, it's a cool story to like have it in your blood kind of and make it happen.
It wasn't, but it's really not one of those stories. It's like something I enjoyed doing, but I feel like if you gave like any kid a camera,
yeah,
it's kind of interesting. So like,
right.
But I, growing up, wanted to be a fireman. Like my dad was a fireman, so I was like, that's what I want to do.
Right.
And then I went to college for about a minute. And
where'd you go?
I went to Queensboro Community College.
Okay.
I did one semester there, and then I signed up for another semester, and then I just like didn't go. Like I would drive there and just park the car and be like, well, this is as far as I go.
I technically went to class today. I just
the lies that I was able to come up with. My mom would be like, where's your, like, what are your grades? Like, what's your GPA? And I'm like,
right.
It's in the mail. Like there was like a discrepancy with the money because I paid with credit. So like,
what are you talking about?
I was just making shit up. And she was like, what the fuck is your GPA? I need to see your grades now. And I was like, I don't, And then eventually I told her, I was like, yeah, I'm just not going to go. And she's like, you just paid for a semester like a couple weeks ago. And I was like, yeah, I'm done with that.
Wow. So then did you drive right into, YouTube and social media and all that shit?
I was doing it, but this is back in like 2011, 2012. So it wasn't a job. It wasn't things people were getting paid for. There was Jenna Marbles who,
right.
Like you don't know, like you just know of these people. You don't know that there's money that people are throwing around or
correct.
Like advertising, like these monetization. I didn't learn that word until like 2015.
Yeah.
I didn't know what the fuck. So I was just doing it because it was fun to do it and it brought attention. And we're going back to the self-centered narcissist thing. So I just would do that all the time. And eventually I remember having a conversation with my dad, dude. My dad was like, how many subscribers on YouTube do you think you need in order to be making like money that you could like support yourself?
Right.
And I said, 12,000. I said 12,000.
What a number.
What a number. And at that, I mean, for anyone who doesn't know, there's no money in YouTube. Like there just isn't. Like, I mean, there is like,
not directly. It's like you want to be big on YouTube, right? But that like monetization. I mean, we wouldn't fucking know. My YouTube struggle is well documented on my show now because these motherfuckers are watching but not subscribing. We're just trying to grow the YouTube like it's 2006 again. We're so late to the game, but 12,000 is a funny number.
Yeah, I was like 12,000, and then I was delivering pizzas, and I was gonna pack in the entire thing because back then there wasn't like MCNs or any networks to protect you from any sort of weirdness. So they just kind of shut down my YouTube channel and I wasn't able to make any sort of money. Not that I was making money anyway.
Who's they? Like what? Like YouTube?
Like YouTube, like Google AdSense. Like
for,
just shut
for what?
Back then. So like with YouTube, like obviously there's a CPM. So like every like 1,000 views, like a certain dollar amount, depending on, what the advertiser's paying. And then if you click on that ad, you get paid a significant amount more. So back then, to protect, I guess, advertisers from like false whatever,
clicks and what,
they would demonetize channels that would show signs of like click bombing. So if I went out and told like my followers,
everybody to click,
everyone click on it, they would shut you down, which I never did that, but they shut me down anyway.
But also, like, isn't that the point? Like, I can understand if like, yo, just click on it. You don't have to buy anything, whatever. But if you go tell your following to make sure you click on this ad, like that's called advertise. That's a good thing, man. Like that's what you want. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. So they shut me down and I still continued to do it for years. And then I built up like 250,000 subscribers and then, but I wasn't making any, like literally not 1 cent from it. But I was like, you know what? This is a significant amount of people. This is
you had 200,000 plus and you were not making money?
$0.
And that's because that's just how, I mean, again, I can't believe I'm still so new to the YouTube game, but like, that's because there's just no money in the monetization, or you were doing something specifically like stupid or wrong?
No, so when they flagged me, they flagged me like a week after I fucking applied. And at that point, I had like nothing. Like I had like maybe 8,000 subscribers, and I was like, I'm gonna apply for this. Then they approved me, and then like a week later, they shut me down for life. They're like, you can't make money off YouTube.
That's the other thing. They're so harsh with their rules, man. It's like
every single time.
Right. What the fuck, man? They are crazy like that. And all because people were clicking. Like it's the first suspicious thing was that a lot of people were clicking on the.
I never had a copyright strike. I never had any of that because I didn't do music. I didn't do any of that stuff. It was just me talking. So there wasn't anything that I was doing that was like super
YouTube renegade over here, bro. The bad boy of YouTube.
I was cursing, but that's
right.
What do you want me to do? And then so I built up like 250,000 subscribers, and I remember telling my oldest brother like, "Yo, I'm probably gonna go back to school," because at that point I was 20 or 21.
Yeah, right.
And I was like, I have this thing. I was working at a pizzeria, like delivering pizzas, but I was like, I have to make a move. Like I can't not make money or have a career, at least a backup plan. So I was going to go back, and then I ended up getting a job at Elite Daily.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So I used to work there. There's a big
Elite Daily. What's that?
It's a big rivalry back in the day.
Yeah. Well, you guys were all smoke and mirrors though, right? You were the kings of SEO and all that shit, where you guys had clicks like a motherfucker. But I feel like or at least that's what we always told ourselves. Like, that's not real. Their traffic's not real. We're the real ones over here. But yeah, we were definitely clashing.
I remember, because I remember when they sold, that's when all that shit started too. I remember it was funny though, because back in the day it was just like, whatever. But they gave me a job. I had $150 in my bank account, and they said, "Yo, come in for be in this video." And I was like, "Yeah, sure." So they're like, "We're gonna give you $150." It's like 15 minutes.
You just doubled my bank account, bro.
Double up.
Yeah.
So I went there, and then he was like, "Oh, we're trying to build out a video team. Like, do you want to work here? Like, you don't have to be here part-time.
Right.
And we'll pay you $400 a week." And I was like, "Yeah."
Big baller, baby.
Yeah. And the company was growing like really rapidly at the time. So then I was able to get a salary there. And then the dude who I sat next to, who's still kind of like my mentor this day, when I have any sort of questions about lighting or cameras or whatever, I just hit him up. And I, sat with him like even after work, and he taught me like a lot about editing and just film production or whatever. And eventually I just quit and started my own thing. At like shortly after I got the job at Elite Daily, I eventually just started from zero with YouTube, because I was like, I need to make money from this if I'm gonna do it every week. So I went from 250,000, and then I tried to pull as many people over to the new channel as possible, but obviously you're not gonna get all of them. So from zero again. And then
what was that account? Was that like just another Joe Santagato, or was that like a Elite Daily type of
no
channel?
I started like the current YouTube channel that if you search my name, it has like 2 million subscribers. Like that's the one that I started from zero again. The first one was called Santagato TV.
Shit. So you've done this multiple times, huh?
Yeah.
That's crazy, man. I can't do it fucking once. God damn it. What's the secret, dude? What's the fucking secret?
I mean, you asked me that, and like what it is, I honestly think it was just like the time. Like there wasn't Twitter, there wasn't Instagram, there wasn't a whole lot of distractions.
I feel like I missed the gold rush. Yeah.
The gold rush was there. And I still feel that way about like YouTube, that it's definitely not in the forefront anymore. Like back in the day, like when I first started doing this, like 2011 to 2014, it was like all YouTubers, you know what I'm saying?
Yep.
Then vlogging came in, and forget about it. Like then people like Logan Paul and Jake Paul, they were doing every day. They were posting a video like
every day, bro.
Exactly. You know what I mean? So like then that's when people started going crazy for it. And that's when I started to like ease my way out of it, to be honest.
Because it was just too much of like a hustle and a grind, or what?
I just felt like it was just getting repetitive for me, and it didn't feel like fulfilling. And like thankfully I was in a position to where I like kind of positioned myself where I didn't need to rely on making YouTube videos every single week for income. I had some other things that I was working on that were like paying me pretty well. So I just eventually like slowly backed out of it. Just
look at this guy, Joe Santagato. I was like, I got some other things with some guys. The money's coming in. Don't worry about it. That's what I do over here.
The money
But,
will be there. The money will be there.
I'm moving rocks. I work in construction over here.
It was not 100% legal, but you know, the money was there.
Yeah. And then so like Instagram rolls along. Like what made you pop on social? Same sort of thing, just doing the same videos?
Well, Instagram, I you know, once these things became popular, which was like kind of early, I would say like 2012, 2013.
Wait, you mean these things like the platforms, you mean?
Yeah, like when they
Yeah,
became like
yeah.
everyone had one. It'd be weird if you didn't have one. It was around years. I was on all of them like all day, every day. So I was trying to grow my audience like across the board.
Yeah.
Which a lot of people don't necessarily do. Like a lot of people just focus on the one that works for them. And then that's why like some people have like millions of followers on YouTube, but their Instagram has like 10,000 people on it.
Yeah.
Like I was just like on it all day, like a psycho. So.
We put all our eggs in the Twitter basket because it was just like we had multiple accounts where we could banter at each other and talk shit. And our strength was in, you know, our writing and our jokes and not as much of, you know, video and our faces. And, you know, Twitter seems to be the only fucking one that's not worth a dime. Doesn't get you anywhere, but we're all addicted to it over here at Barstool. So that was always our biggest following. And then the new shit is just like, you know, the TikToks. And I know you said you were having success just putting clips of your show on TikTok, but we've like, I feel like unless we're like using TikTok and engaging using like their like filters and their little, all their bells and whistles, we're just not. Sometimes I wonder if some of these places, if I'm like, you know, the Barstool name carries, you know, some stigma attached to it. And sometimes I wonder,
dude,
you know, like
you think Gen Z likes Barstool? You're fucking bugging.
Yeah.
They hate you.
I know. It's like, yeah, I know. Part of me is I always, in the beginning, it was like, I want to get on every platform and I want to try to reach every demo. Obviously, the more, the better. And then I think I got to the point where I was like, I'm just going to focus on the people who like me because there's a lot of people who don't and a lot of places that don't work. So let me just lean into like the 30-year-olds who are like washed up and miserable. I'm like, I got you guys. I got that demo locked down.
You just lost them. So good job.
Now they know the deal. They know the deal, man.
No, it's true though, because like you can't cater to everyone. And that's kind of like what I sort of prided myself on, you know, throughout my career is like, I just did videos. Like I didn't look at what everyone else was doing. They had like super nice cameras. They had a super studio set up. Like I was in my mom's basement and I would hang a bed sheet behind me.
Dude, those are the best videos. Like that's to me when it's like the realest and like, and even you're saying how your boy still works like a regular job. Like when I was doing that, when I was doing like finance and the blogging, that is when it's your purest. And for me, I think it was my funniest work. Because it was when I truly was just like, I'm doing this for fun. I'm doing this I hate over here. So when I'm over here doing this thing, I'm happy, I'm excited, I'm creative. It's an outlet. I'm getting it all out. And that to me, to this day, I still think is like my funniest content ever. Where now it's like, I'm worried about monetization and growth and distribution. Is that funny? Will that go viral? Did I, you know, all this.
Yeah.
It's work now. Like everything kind of becomes work.
Yeah, it's tough. And I feel like that's just like a natural progression of it too. Like you start out and you want to just, I always tell people all the time, like, yo, you have to make content that you like and that your friends would watch and like enjoy. Because for me, impressing my friends is like fucking impossible.
Absolutely.
Like, yeah, it's great. Like,
yeah, your real friends hate you.
Yeah. They don't give me any sort of credit whatsoever.
Right.
It's like, okay, yeah, okay. Like they're like, oh yeah, 13-year-olds think you're funny. Like that's
congratulations, dude. Yeah.
When I first started doing YouTube, when I was like 19 or whatever, like the demographic that was on YouTube was very young. So it was like 13, 14, like your typical Jake Paul or age type of person. Now the demo's completely changed. Like they're all around my age because we've grown up.
Yeah, exactly.
But my friends are still like, yeah, 13-year-olds think you're funny, dude. Yeah, you know, you got to figure it out. Okay, he's tapped in.
I used to always get like, they'd be like, oh, KFC is out tonight. Like, let me know when Kevin's around. Let me know when Clancy comes. But right now we've got KFC. I was like, fuck you guys. Shut up. Go back to your shitty jobs. Fuck off. Yeah. So, I mean, that, you know, I feel like the dream for me, at least, is to be able to do all this, make the money, like be happy, be able to kind of control your own shit and be your own boss. And if I could do all that without the quote unquote fame or recognition or being recognized, like to me, that is absolutely the way. I know some people want to be front and center and be known and be famous and all that nonsense. But to me, I'd so much rather float under the radar and make the money, still be successful, of course,
Yeah,
but
I feel like that, like where I'm at right now in my life, I love, like, it's like a perfect sort of middle position because I make like good money and I get to do what I like to do. And I just kind of fuck around and I'm with my friend who's I've known since pre-K now.
Yeah.
And we do the show together. And sometimes when I go out, people will notice who I am. And like that obviously selfishly like feels good to have that.
Yeah.
But it's never like a thing where I feel like I need to be on my best behavior because if people see me, they have
catch you.
I don't ever want to become one of those people. You know what I mean?
Never.
I don't want that kind of attention. I don't want, to go on some fucking, I don't want to be on Oprah.
Right.
All this shit. You know what I mean? Like, I just want to do my thing. And that's kind of why I like staying in New York too, because you don't, I like living in a place that when someone asks me what I do for a living, I get uncomfortable and I don't know what to say.
Yes.
Like, I don't know.
Right.
If you're in California, you're in LA and someone asks you and you go, I'm a vlogger, then they're like, oh, wow.
Cool.
If I said that here, they'd be like, the fuck are you talking about?
Right. I used to get all the time, like, oh, so you get paid for that? It's like,
Dude,
yeah. It's a fucking, yes, it's a job.
Every single time my dad calls me, you still husband, you still making money? You still doing that?
It's like, Dad, I've been doing this for 12 years. Yeah, we're good, man.
What do you think happens, dude? Like,
I remember my dad. So when I first started at Barstool, I told my parents and I told them it was a sports blog. Just seemed like the easiest way to tell them. And then like, I don't know, a month later, whatever, enough time's gone by that my dad was able to dabble with the website a little bit, very technologically inept. So I'm sure it took him a while to even find the website to read the blogs. And we're at like a family party, standing side by side, and he kind of just leans over to me. He's like, so that isn't really a sports at all. I was like, no, it's really not, Dad. And that at that point, that was the peak of like our local smoke shows and Guess That Ass and Wake Up with the Models and like, all that shit. And he was like, what are you doing, man? I was like, don't worry about it. The money will be the money's
going to be there. It will be on your desk. Don't worry about it.
It's crazy though, man, how it can be, there are people who can't go anywhere. Like it's a weird spot to be in when somebody, good example. Last night, a couple nights ago, my co-host Feidelberg went to a comedy show and he was sitting front and center. And this guy pointed at him like, so what do you do for work? And he doesn't know how to answer because there's, on the one hand, if he or a handful of people in the audience know who Barstool is, and he says like, I work for Barstool, it's going to be a thing. And then there's a chance that comic and the other half of the room, it's like, who the fuck are you? I don't know. Oh, you work for Barstool? What the fuck is that? Yeah. So, and that's kind of like what I like about being in New York too, is no matter how popular you get, there's entire neighborhoods of the city that like, the hipsters in Brooklyn don't give a shit about the frat boy sports blog. The Broadway doesn't give a shit about us. There's all sorts of different places that are never going to really know you. So, but to some people, it's going to be a big deal. So I'm always like in that, like, I don't know what to say. Do you know what it is? If not, you don't know what it is.
One of my biggest, like, insane fears is being at a comedy show and a comedian asks me what I do for a living. I would just lie. I would just straight up lie.
Just say a normal ass job, right? Like I'm in sales. I don't know.
I would just make something up. Yes. And then he would have follow-up questions that like lob deep in this fucking lie now. Like a great example that I've given people before is there was this one time where going back to what you said before, where you love that, my co-host works a regular job still. He, when I went to I was working at Elite Daily and we flew to LA to shoot the series that I was producing with a bunch of like influencers out there. And one of them in particular, who at the time, and I think still, I had a way bigger following then. We get there and I'm sitting in like a director's chair, like the fucking little whatever.
Yeah,
so in the chair.
Like felt, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Mad cool, by the way. So
absolutely. You sit on one of those, you're like the man. Yeah.
I know. I'm like a fucking Scorsese over here. Yeah. But so we had a giant green screen. So he gets up there and he's in the chair. And then I start asking him like the questions, like the prompts or whatever. And he's like, what are you doing? And I'm like, what are you talking about? And he's like, well, you work here? And I was like, yeah. And he was like confused. Like he couldn't wrap his mind around the fact that like I had
running the show. Yeah.
Like I had a job, but also did like social media on the side.
Right.
And I remember just being in LA and feeling like this is not the kind of environment that I want to be in, because I feel like it would hold me back in a way, because it's a lot of smoke and mirrors there. I mean,
Yeah.
it's a lot of like, I have a meeting, and it's like, you're going on a hike. Like,
Yeah.
you're gonna get coffee. Like, it's not a meet. Like, it's
Nothing's
not
gonna get done out there, dude. Yeah.
yeah. And it's like, you know, I mean, people do that everywhere, but there, in my experience, I've seen it like a lot. And I remember there was this one time too. I had put out a video while I was in LA on one of those trips, and I was like really proud of this video, and I thought it was really funny. And I was flying to New York that night, so I put out the video, and then someone who was like there was like, who was from LA, was like, oh my God, dude, that video is so funny. Like, it's gonna be, and it was like this thing. And I was like, oh, thanks, you know, whatever. And then I get back to New York, and in the morning I go to the gym with my friend, and my friend comes up to me and he goes, yo, that video you put out yesterday? And I'm like, yeah. He's like, worst fucking video you've ever put out. I was like, are you kidding me?
Thank you, dude.
Like,
Thank you.
I was like, compared to like the other ones, I thought it was like actually good. He's like, yo, it was terrible. I was like, you know what? This is where I need to be, because this is
it's kind of true. Like, I mean that sometimes I thought like maybe I missed out. Maybe I should have, you know, I was always going to stick around where my family was. And then once I had my own kids and shit, it was out of the question really. But I was like, maybe I should have just bounced when I was like 25 and said, fuck it, I'm going to LA and I'm going to do it there. But the way we were doing Barstool was like, you had to cover your city and be in the mix. But also I just think, even if not, like, you know, at least for me, the way I have to do it is to be like myself. I can't like play a character or do a thing. And so if I'm going to be myself, I gotta be like, you know, New York asshole in New York doing my asshole life. So I feel like it was the only way to, maybe there's like a ceiling on it because you didn't go out to LA, but that ceiling would be higher than what I did if I went to LA and tried to be something I'm not, you know?
Yeah, exactly. And that's what I was saying too. Like and when I was younger and doing like YouTube shit, they would have like Playlist Live and like Digifest or whatever. It was like meetups that they would have people go to. And I went to like 2 of them because they were like, yeah, we'll pay $500. You're gonna come, and it was like meet and greets and shit.
Yeah.
And that life those events made me like extremely uncomfortable. Like I didn't really enjoy like a meet and greet, nor would I probably ever enjoy that. Even if, you know, if I were to do like a podcast tour, I know some people do like meet and greets. I probably wouldn't do that just because it makes me very uncomfortable. Because it's not that I'm like overly humble. I just truly feel like it's weird when people are going to pay more to meet me. I was like, I'll just hang out in the bar and we'll just hang. Like,
so that's what we do. We never charge extra for our meet and greets because the whole thing was like, and maybe that'll change over time, or maybe we'll do something where it's like a true VIP where you get to like hang out with us for some extra cash or something. But the idea of just like meeting, shaking hands, taking a picture, doing a shot, having a beer, like that was why we like succeeded. So that all of a sudden, like put that behind a paywall, essentially, I always felt super uncomfortable. Like you have to pay for me to grace you with my presence. But then I also, the flip side of it, I've talked to comics who are like, yeah, man, like I did a room that's almost like 1,000 people. And like, you know, then you stand out there afterwards, you're there for like 3 hours and it's like, this became work. So I get both sides of it. But for us, the way we kind of portrayed ourselves as like the common man, you can't be charging for that. I feel like that's weird.
That would be the only way that it would make sense, because that you have like the money is like, okay, at that point, a lot of people need to be paid. You don't go out there and it's just like whatever. Like this place, I was getting paid to be, they were paying for my ticket. They were paying me to show up. This wasn't costing me anything. And they were charging these people. So it was only a select amount of people. So I was just kind of like, this just kind of feels weird. Not only that, but the people who were like influencers and YouTubers or whatever the fuck the case may be, I didn't really feel like I fit in with them. Like there wasn't a lot of people that I felt like, oh man, I would hang out with these people if they were like, so I was just like, I don't fit in here. And
we did this thing. I don't even know who it was for now. They invited us out. And we had to go to this like influencer. It was a little mini barge that was like in Marina Del Rey, like floating on the water near a dock. And I think there was like mini golf and it was just dumb shit to take pictures in front of for Instagram, you know? And we were on this little barge, boat, dock, whatever it was. And I think like Helen Owen was there. A couple like Instagram smokes were there, and they're just like taking their pictures, doing their things. And there was a couple like I guess like sketch guys who were doing something. And I was just looking around. I'm like, fights. This ain't it, man. This is not for us, dude. Like we just made a mockery of the whole thing. That was our style of doing it. But I mean, unless the money is astronomical, I feel like I could never. I've learned when I'm doing interviews, I know right away if someone's like an East Coast or a West Coast guy. Our East Coast interviews are so much better. And maybe that's just because we are those guys, so we click better. But I just feel like we're more normal and talking and opening up and laughing, like humble, whatever.
It's also just like you take it less serious. It's like it's a job and it's like a thing, but it's also like we're fortunate enough that we don't have to. You know, if I worked at fucking Goldman Sachs, I'm really shot for the moon there.
Yeah.
If I worked for
Boy, we went right to the cream of the crop.
I could have picked so many other banks. If I worked there, though, like you have to act a certain way when you go to work. Like you can't say certain things, you can't post certain things on social media. Like we make a living off of essentially being ourselves, like a little exaggerated version sometimes, but it's like
souped up. Yeah,
we don't really have like an image to uphold or anything like that. So when you find people who are kind of similar in that way, and I find that a lot of them are also East Coast based or are originally from the East Coast at least.
Yeah, at least they kept some of their East Coast with them if they went somewhere.
Right. They take it less seriously and they realize that like when I get home, no one's going to give a fuck anyway. So I can't take myself seriously because like a lot of these things that you see online, you're kind of like, damn, if I did this, my friends would. And and like that's the thing. When I was younger, dude, I would do that. Like I would do like certain like pictures where you just like, you know what I mean? Like torture me. To this day, like a random picture would be like of me will be thrown into the group chat and like if I said something and I made fun of one of my friends, they'd be like, "Oh yeah, here.
Look at this." Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
but you need that, man. These like some of these guys, these kids really, I feel like are coming up super successful. Do your thing, Playboy. Like, go ahead. I'm not knocking that. But you need like one or two friends to be like, bro, you really like thought that like licking your lips and looking sexy in the camera was a good idea. Now, like if you know, some of those, if one of those TikTok dudes was kind of like, yeah, man, I know it's ridiculous. Also, do you want to see my fucking my bank account? I'd be like, all right, cool. But we just at least need to knock you down and make fun of you. Yes, you have to have that awareness that what you're doing is kind of ridiculous. Do you think if you grew up right now, like, you know, take yourself 10 years ago, whatever, if it was in the middle of the TikTok era, would you have been like, yeah, I'll fucking dance and wiggle and shake a little bit and get all these followers?
I want to say no so bad. And like, honestly, no is probably the actual answer because I don't think I'd be able to survive that because my friends are just not like none of my friends actively like are on social media. Even my co-host, if you go to his social media, it's not super active. Like he posts clips from like, but like none of them are on it. So if I had another person who would like indulge with me, then maybe, but I don't. So I feel like they'd be able to be like, dude, we're playing basketball today. Like
we're doing normal shit.
Your house dance.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Well, that was
very strange.
In the very beginning of it. We that was always kind of the thing. Like we would say, you know, Barstool would be like, no, we played sports growing up. Like we would play, you know, pick up ball. We play wiffle ball. We'd be on an actual team. We didn't just set up our cameras and like dance sexy together. I mean, could you imagine being like, yo, fellas, like, let's like, hang on, like pause, like, let's take a time out. We got to like, you know, shake our dicks to the new song that came out. Like, what the fuck? Yeah. But also if you told me I was going to be 18 years old and I was going to catch a check for like $100,000 for like my month of dancing or some shit, I probably would have been like, okay, we're about to wiggle.
Stick around, man.
Yeah, let us wiggle this dick, man. Yeah. So I try not to hate because I feel like I think that we're at an interesting point in like society, if you will. We are kind of the first. You're a little bit younger than me, but in general, like we're the first generation that was on the internet and savvy and picking up the new shit and staying like ahead of the curve. But it's now the first time that we can be old enough to be lame, you know? You're still good. But for me, it's like This is the first time that I don't know like the newest songs. I certainly don't know like the newest trends. I don't know the same slang. And I'm like, oh fuck, I'm lame. Like I'm old and lame. And I, for the longest time, you hadn't, because it was like, I'm on the internet, I'm on the cutting edge, I'm doing this blogging thing, I'm doing this podcast thing. I'm always like ahead of the curve or up to it. And then you just get old enough that it happens where you're like, wow, anybody can get old. Anybody can become lame, and it's like, okay, yeah. And you got to, I accept it. Certain other people at Barstool are trying to latch on and hold on forever and try to stay young no matter what their age is. But I'm trying to age appropriately, I want to age appropriately without getting like, I got to keep up for work. But if all of a sudden I just was like, yeah, let me shake my dick, I would be mercilessly murdered by my friends on the internet.
No coming back from that.
No,
honestly.
no.
And you know what it is? Like I try to think about it as like, there was probably shit that I did that my oldest brother, I think is your age, 84. Were you born in 84?
Oh, I thought you were saying 84 years old. It's like, fuck you, man. 85. So
yeah, so he was born in 84. So I'm sure there's stuff that I did that he was just like, what the fuck are you doing?
Yeah.
Like what is going on? Also, I think that, we also come from a time where like we have an age gap, a wild age gap between me and you, but we have an age gap. And but we also, like when we were younger, like we didn't have the computer. Like I didn't have a computer in the house. Like we were outside and we were like, figure it out. We didn't have cell phone. I didn't have a cell phone until I was like a senior in high school or something.
Right, me too. Yep.
And then a laptop until I got to college. And so these kids are born just with that. Immediately they get a social media account, and it's like that's like their whole life basically.
That's why
for us it was like, yo, the coolest kid was like the fastest one. It's like, yo, you want to see me run fast?
How funny is that was just universal in every school. There's two things that I find to be like so weird, because there was no internet to connect us to be like, okay, this is what's cool. We just knew it. It was who can run fast, right?
Yeah.
And then when we did get the internet, we all went on AOL, went into chat rooms and pretended to be lesbians. And like, that was it. And I don't know why I did it and he did it. And he did it from, you could be in Iowa, I'm in New York, you're in California. We all were like, okay, I'm just going to pretend to be a chick. And there's certain things that are just like in your blood when you're that age. And those guys, I think, and this is my platform that I've always like run on. We are the greatest generation because of that. Because we grew up without it. So we know life without it,
right?
But we're young enough that when we needed to adapt and pick it up, we could.
Yeah.
Our parents got lost. Our parents got dusted, and the people who came after us are spoiled. We know the struggle of buffering porn and trying to watch porn on a scrambled TV and AOL chat rooms, but also
downloading it on LimeWire.
Yes, and having it just mangle your computer. We know that life.
It's not only that, sometimes you would download porn and it would take like an afternoon. So you're like, I'm gonna leave this here, and then you come back and then you click on it,
and it's not the porn you wanted, man.
Or it's just some like political fucking campaign. I'm like, bro,
this ruined my whole night. I've had a boner for like 8 hours waiting for this, dude.
It's like, not this kind of bush.
But that's why, man. Take the World War II generation. Fuck off. Yeah, good big deal. You went to war and saved the world. We know how to watch porn now, even though we grew up without it. Okay, that's what's important, man.
Also too, like you might be onto something, because of recently I've been just hyper aware of like how weird like people become, or society becomes, when they're completely wrapped up in social media. And I think because I lived a portion of my life like completely without it, like I can kind of see the contrast. So I feel like I'm gonna get to a certain age where I'm just be like, you know what, I'm kind of done with this. Like I don't want to be involved. Not that I even have a choice, because I think, like you're saying, you get to a certain age where it's like, this is a young man's game.
Yes.
And I can't be and like, even if I want to be a part of it, I can't keep up. So I'm just out. And we'll be able to kind of live without that. But I think that the kids now who are just immediately when they have their phones, like forget it, they're toast.
If you were to take that away from them, they would be absolutely lost. They wouldn't know what to do. They wouldn't know how to entertain themselves. They wouldn't know what it is. But yeah, I feel like so also what's big for me is having had a real job for a little bit. So you never really did that though. You went right into the content game, and whatever else you were doing on the side where the money was just there.
Yeah, I worked at pizzerias and
yeah, but even that, I feel like just having some sort of, for me, the most important thing, the only thing was that I could make enough money per year as a salary to just not have to do the cube work, and everything else on top of that is gravy. And like, luckily there's been a decent amount of gravy. There's a lot that has come after that. But that being my like main goal, I think is very different than the people coming up now who have, they're born with the iPhone in their hands. They're making content right away. They get a job at a place like this, or they go viral on their own. And it's like, there's nothing to compare it to, where you're like, you feel lucky, you feel blessed. You're just like entitled a little bit, and I end up sounding like such an old fucking fart, like such an old, I walked uphill 2 miles both ways. Yeah. But there is an element of that where it's like, if you don't know life without it, and you don't know what the other side is like, you can't possibly appreciate it the right way.
Yeah. And you know what? It goes back to, because there was a time in my life where I just felt like I felt super old, even at like 25, of being like, these kids don't know, or these kids, this and that. At this point, I'm just kind of like, the world progresses and it becomes a different place. And like now everyone's on technology. Like if you didn't have social media, you would probably be behind, and you probably would not be as, educated and whatever. There's a lot of good that comes with it, but there's also a lot of like negative things. Like, like you said, a lot of people, like, they have communication issues, or they don't like have eye contact when they speak to people, like these kind of things that seem unimportant when you live in a technology world. Like, I think eventually the bubble is going to burst and people are going to realize that like all this internet is probably bad.
They're like, I'm guaranteeing that the internet will be like cigarettes, where we look back and people are like, they used to smoke all day long, and they actually told people it was good for you. I think they're going to be like, I think two things. When self-driving cars are fully like integrated, I think people are going to be like, can you believe they used to let humans just run with like 10,000 pounds of machine behind them? Like, they would give the keys to a 15-year-old girl and say, here you go. As long as like the sun's still out, you can ride this car, that. And I think the internet, where it'll be like, they used to have unlimited access, where they would be on the computer with their eyeballs bleeding for like, 15 hours a day. Of course, they all have social anxiety and intimacy issues and relationship issues. Can you imagine growing up in like the dating app era, like where you were just like one swipe away from like, this girl will just come over and like fuck me tonight. Like, what? I mean, what? What?
And also like the worst part about that is like living in a society where like you get Instagram immediately, and it's like, all right, clearly Instagram is just like fake. It's a fabrication of everyone's life. Sure. Nothing's real. Yes. It's the internet. Yes. It doesn't really exist in person. Right. I try to tell these people all the time of like, people will say things online, but they never will say it in person. And like, obviously that just makes sense, because you don't have to deal with any repercussions of that. You don't have to like deal with any backlash. You don't have to, you get some backlash online, but you don't deal with the actual like energy of a backlash, or someone being upset in front of you because you said something mean, or being angry, or having to deal with someone physically assaulting you for that. Right. You don't deal with any of that. So it's much easier to say things online. But I just lost my train of thought. It's the goddamn internet.
I was gonna say, there it is, perfect fucking example. But I mean, that's why it's fake. But if you don't know that and have anything to base on, I remember when it was real, when we didn't have it. It doesn't feel fake to you. It feels, getting those likes and views is like the most important thing in the world to you.
That's what I was gonna say. When they their whole life is based upon this fake thing, then it's very easy to get down on yourself, or like depression, anxiety, suicide rates in like, especially like young ass teenage girls is up like 100%.
I'm sure.
And it's not a mistake. Like, it's right at the social media boom. So you spend your entire life comparing yourself to other people who are only posting themselves when they look good.
They look hot with the filter, with the Photoshop.
Every vacation they've been on, every meal they eat, everything, all the restaurants they go to. Anytime you go to someplace fancy, you post about it. Like, you're just trying to like make people feel bad about themselves. Essentially.
Yeah, really. I'm better than you are. Your life is not as good as mine.
Yeah, and it's not necessarily like deliberate, but like that's
what you're doing.
Passively what's happening. So that's why like, a lot of these kids deal with depression, they deal with anxiety, they deal with like cyberbullying and all this shit. Like we never dealt with any of that. Like there was no cyberbullying when I was younger.
No, you just get bullied in real life. You just get like,
exactly. And also, if you spend enough time on the internet to cyberbully, it was like, oh, you're a fucking nerd.
Yeah, you're a loser, dude.
Yeah. That's kind of what it was. It's like you got cyberbullied for being on the computer.
Right. I mean, yeah, that used to be lame, and now it's like the coolest shit in the world. I mean, the idea of having internet friends that like, you don't really know, you're like 15 years old, you're like best friends with someone on Instagram or social media or Twitter, or you fall in love, you got to deal with catfishes, you got to deal with I mean, the thought, for me growing up, like learning how to like approach a girl at the bar and talk to her and try to get her number and try to like hook up that way was like the scariest, most intimidating, hardest thing I ever had to do, we like as a crew, like the guys would all like have to hype each other up and like get each other motivated. Like, go talk to her, man. She'll like you. Things like that. That is just it's gone. Nobody's doing that anymore. And it's just like, oh yeah, this girl says she's like 0.2 miles from me and she wants to fuck. Like, here we go. I mean, that can't be normal. That can't be right. There's no way we're developing the right way if that's what we're doing, man.
Yeah. I mean, I don't really have too much experience in, or
I missed the whole wave. I've never done it.
Yeah, no, but it's, all of it I think is just bad. Like I get, the convenience of it and whatever. And I don't think that it's like consciously evil or bad or whatever, but I do think the subconscious effects and the long-term effects of having this kind of convenience is
the power of convenience.
There is something that is damaging about convenience, about certain things. You know what I mean? Like if you have a car, like the first people who started having cars and shit, and like if you had a car, so you just drive everywhere, whatever, maybe you don't exercise as much. Maybe you're not as in good shape. Like there's
always an opportunity cost. Yes, for sure. And the internet does it with like just about fucking everything, man. So so what do you what's like next for you guys? Like you're just gonna banging out the podcast, keep up with the videos? Is there a thought of like trying to be ahead of whatever the next big boom is, next big trend is?
I'll tell you, I mean, honestly, these days, like I enjoy doing the podcast a lot. I don't necessarily enjoy not that I don't enjoy it, but I don't really have an interest in like trying to stay relevant on social media anymore. Like trying to be like, oh man, I got to post today, or I got to keep my engagement.
Really?
Like, I care less and less about that every day. So but I do enjoy the podcast, and I do like enjoy that. I'm interested in, creating things outside of what I've been doing for the last 10 years. Like it does get a little repetitive. The podcast doesn't, because it's kind of just like hanging out. And like, that's a very like
that's
great
job
that I kind of like
that's just
stumbled into. Yeah. It was so easy for me to walk away from 2 million subscribers on YouTube, getting every video, getting 1 million views every single week. And I was just like, I'm done. And I just backed out of it. Like there wasn't like a decline where it's like, oh dude, you lost it, so walk away. It was just like, I was like kind of at my peak, and I just
that's either admirable or you're a fucking idiot.
There's a good deal of both of there.
And again, that was just all because it was demonetized, and so you had 2 million.
No, but at that point I was making money. I started the new channel, and I was.
So why did you do? Why did you do that?
Dude, I couldn't explain it. Like it was the same reason why I told you that I would go to college
and just not go.
When I was going to college, I would drive there, but I was like, I can't even get myself to go in because like, what am I? And it just kind of felt like that. So I just like,
is that just defunct? Like that just account is never posting anything anymore, or what?
No. So like on that channel, I posted like during the pandemic, I think I did like 4 videos like in a row, and then I just fell out of it again because I don't know. For me, it just feels like I'm trying to go back to college and enjoy another, you know what I mean? So it kind of feels like I did that, and it's not like the thing. It would be, and that would be the thing too. If it was the place to be making money, like if it had some crazy, like, you know how like TikTok's like the fucking thing right now. If it was YouTube, then I would feel more inclined to do it. But it also just feels like I'm really just going back and trying to enjoy my like another homecoming week at college.
Yeah.
Fucking, you know what I mean? Like,
I get that, but I think a little bit of that's in your head where it's like you said, these are people that age with you. So maybe that's what it started as. But if they're all older and still ride with you, and you can just still access those 2 million people, like you're crazy.
100%. I feel like it's there. If I
Yeah.
really needed to,
it.
I
Yeah.
could. But I feel like now the things that interest me more are the podcast,
Yeah.
and also these other things. There's a couple other projects that
Yeah. So the other people's, what's it called, OPL or something like that, other people's lives. Yeah. That's some wild shit where that's the kind of stuff. To me, like, I would love to have the podcast where I'm busting balls and talking shit and being a weirdo, like an immature moron. But then I used to do like these little like documentary type of pods where I would like write a script and have music sound bites and you know, interviews and kind of make it like a little 30 for 30, but about sports or pop culture or whatever. And I felt like that was kind of where I was like, all right, like I'm flexing that muscle over here. I'm using like that part of my brain a little bit more. And I feel like other people's lives is kind of like similar to you, where it's like you can have these deep dive conversations with people who have wild stories, sad stories, heartbreaking shit, like interesting stuff, where you're not just being like a dumbass online. That's like the good of the internet. The good side of everything we've been talking about is a podcast like Other People's Lives, where you learn how to be empathetic and walk in another person's shoes and all that kind of shit. Because the stories are
so much. I've learned so much from doing that podcast about, you know, just people. And honestly, like, not to sound like super corny, but it just makes you like a like way less judgmental and more understanding of people, because
more grateful, more everything.
It was, especially in a city like this, you walk past people all the time. You don't know, like, has this guy killed someone, or what is this person's like fetish or kink, or like, you know, whatever. And we've created a community, thankfully, after I think 11 seasons, where, you know, people feel like it's a safe space, which it is. Like, and thankfully for that too, because I was always doing like comedy shit where I was like sometimes poking fun at people, this and that. But then I have this show. So our original worry was that people were just going to come in and be like, oh, welcome to the freak show. And it, you know, they just like tear these people apart. But it's really, you know, like a lot of people have become very understanding of, you know, the point of the show.
Welcome to the freak show.
Yeah. Like, up, you know, man. Like sometimes it's like, you know, they're into fucking whatever. I don't
weird stuff. There was the girl who had 2 vaginas. There's like, you know, wild stuff where you're going to have people
down them. Not one.
Not one, but 2.
Not 2. That's
you know, there's always a concern that people are going to be, you know, rude or immature or assholes online. But then every now and then you get the right community and the right time and the right fashion, and next thing you know, it's something like cool and interesting where everybody, man, learning how to become not judgmental, like my entire career, and to some extent it still is read an article or watch a video and react to it and give your opinion. So my opinion, like 99% of the time, was like, fuck this, fuck that guy, fuck this guy, that's fake, he's an asshole, whatever. And a lot of times it's done in the name of humor. And but then also you get older and you kind of like start to see, you go through some shit on your own and you're like, oh, well, no, that guy I used to make fun of, that is what happens, or that is the way that I actually do feel that way once I went through. Because when you're young and everything, all your life experiences are pretty much enjoyable and you haven't gone through anything yet, you don't have any, like I said, empathy or understanding or experience.
The first video, and like a lot of the first videos I've ever made I privated them years ago.
Yeah.
The first video, and I tell people this all the time because I admit it, of like, you know, whatever. The first video I ever made was titled "A Talk About Sluts," and it was just me sitting there.
Like, here's the deal with sluts.
Yeah, and it was like, you know what I'm saying? Like, this is your job. Like, I was fucking an idiot. You know what I'm saying?
Right, man.
Like, that's just like what I thought was funny back then.
Yep.
And like, maybe it was in fucking 2000.
Sure, I'm sure it was. You're a funny dude. You got your finger on the pulse of what's funny, but it's just not now.
Yeah, like I've always been like, I'm not like a mean dude. Like, I never was I've never bullied anybody in my life. Like, I remember in high school when and I didn't go to a high school. I went to St. Francis Prep. The kids who I was friends with were on the football team. So we are like the demographic for the movie of like, these kids are fucking assholes.
The bullies. Yeah.
But if we saw a kid sitting by himself at lunch, we would invite him over to our table. Like, we were very much not these people.
Bro,
at all.
when I was in high school for the senior superlative for the yearbook, I won biggest heart. Okay. Which, first of all, let me tell you something. You want to talk about like getting bullied? Don't win biggest heart if you don't want your friends to mercilessly make fun of you.
What did you do?
I was just, you know what it was?
At the church?
No, I tell people, I didn't make fun of like the fat people. I was nice to like, you know, the guy who sat alone at lunch. I mean, that's really all it was. It was just like, I just wasn't a total dickhead to people. I don't know. But biggest heart, I was like, I'm flattered, but can we call this something else? Like, you know, even just if it was like nicest guy, I'd be like, cool.
Just a
but
nice
biggest heart. It's like you might as well just put biggest pussy on top of it. But yeah, that's why. I mean, when people find out that kind of shit, or hanging out with me in real life, and it's like, yeah, when I'm trying to entertain, sometimes my reaction will be like the TikTokers. I'm like, man, fuck these kids. I'm jealous of them. They drive me crazy. They should be playing sports. And then when I meet them, I'd be like, yo, that's really cool, man, that you're like found your own lane and you're like made a career out of dancing. That's really cool, man. It's like,
when I was first starting out, people would meet me in person. They'd be like, you're a lot like quieter in person.
Yes.
Like, I'm not on the clock right now.
Well,
like,
it's not like I'm a dancing monkey to perform for you. I'm at a wedding where we're just like, you know, eating dinner, you know, relax.
And that's you know, that's why I loved, you know, other people's lives, like starting that. And we've been doing it for a couple of years now. So it's a nice like change of pace, and it's like a really cool show. Like I'm a fan of it because like I'm not doing anything. Like we have phone calls with these people, and they're essentially cold calls. Like we vet them a little bit through email, but then we get on the phone and we just have a conversation with people. I never know what they're going to say, so it's very enjoyable just to sit there and be like, "What the fuck is going on?" Sometimes. So it's super interesting. And then, you know, actually the host that I do, my co-host for that show, my buddy Greg, we're releasing a card game this summer, similar to what you did with Answer.
Yeah. And how does that work? What's like
it's called Pay the Price, and it's like a trivia game. And it's essentially like, we just ended the Kickstarter, I think, last month, and we raised like 120 grand. So we're going to try and put it out this summer.
That card game shit is, you know, we're doing that with a couple more things coming up this year. It's like, it's a little gold mine, man. It's a very cool thing. Like when we put it out, and I had this box that was in stores and on shelves and so on, cool, you know, Walmart.com. I was like, wow, this is something, man. Very
not only
cool
that,
stuff.
But they have an insane like lifespan. Like you think about a game like Cards Against Humanity, like
still going.
People don't realize that game's like 10 years old.
Yeah,
dude.
and people still buy. It's like every Christmas, it's a stocking stuffer and you know that kind of shit all the time.
Sometimes people are playing it. Like people are still buying these games. So if you create a product that's like good enough, you can make like a ton of money off of that. And
forever, in perpetuity, man. Yeah, it's wild. But I really commend guys like you. Like I was lucky enough that I fell in with Barstool. We have like a whole machine behind it. But you know, just doing it yourself. Like, do you have like Santagato LLC or something like that? Do you have like a company name that's just like your brand or what?
Yeah.
That's like incredible, man. To do it solo is nuts.
There's Santagato Studios, but that's not the official like corporation name. I've actually never said the corporation name, so I don't even like.
No. Like, but that's what I mean, though. It's like your own endeavor is what it is, though.
Yeah. So everything kind of filters into there, and like, this game in particular, we worked on it for over a year. We were gonna put it out last summer, but the fucking pandemic hit, and I was like, this is a bad time to ask people like, yo, donate to
give me your money. Yeah. That's tough.
So
that's tough.
We kind of just worked on it even more. Like, thank God, because we made a lot of changes in that time too.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so we put it out, we're done, and we did every question, you know, essentially like the rules are like, you know, you ask a trivia question. If you get it right, you get the card. That signifies a point. If you get it wrong, there's another deck that has like these consequences on it that are just kind of like
perfect, easy peasy, man.
Yeah, exactly. You know, and like, dude, when I tell you the fucking rules that we had originally, it was like, so confusing,
so complicated.
Points and this and that.
Yes, even with the Answer to the Internet, we have like a set of rules that's like, here's how you win the points, and if majority of the people answer one way, and and it's like nobody ever plays by the rules. No. They just want to ask the questions and banter a little bit. That's it.
Yeah. No one's keeping score. No wins.
No, there's no winning. There's winning. There's no losing. It's just like, let's get a little drunk and like talk about shit. You know, that's really what it's all about. Just fucking talking to pass the time by, so life isn't fucking miserable, man.
Yeah, and that one, honestly, we were able to do that like independently. That's why we went Kickstarter, because there was a time like back in the day. You remember that game, Speak Out? That you put like those things in your mouth and it stretches out your mouth.
Yes, and you had to try to like, you know, you couldn't really talk with it. Yes, yeah.
I came up with that.
Oh wow.
Yeah, so
you've been doing some all sorts of shit behind the scenes that you're just laying low.
Yeah, but no one knows. Yeah. And that's the thing. Like, well,
see, I commend that. So you're not about the glory or the credit at all, huh?
No, listen. I enjoy credit. Everyone enjoys
Sure.
credit and everyone's like a little bit of attention. A lot of it would make me very anxious and like I would feel bad, weird. So I don't like, and also, you know, I'm just not that type of person to flaunt to that extent. Like everyone flaunts, everyone likes to show off what they have and this and that, but I'm not a very flashy person. I don't have like a ton of jewelry or this and that. And I don't care for the glory because like I have my life. I have a lot of friends and I'm
that's really what it comes down to when you see some people who are all about, you know, the credit and the fame. If you get to know them a little bit, you realize like they're kind of alone, and that's why they want the credit and the recognition because that's where they get their love and attention and support. So if you have a crew of great friends, a great family, great wife, girlfriend, husband, boyfriend, whatever, like that's where you're going to get your satisfaction. When you don't have that, that's when it's kind of like, you know, recognize that I'm doing this. Like, give me the credit for this. And there's nothing wrong with that either. But it is like, I got a guy who makes a lot of our clothing and he makes a lot of custom sneakers, and Rich Franklin is his name. And he is responsible for like a lot of the really like amazing custom sneaker projects that come out. And sometimes they're put out under other people's names, and he does work for other names that are just more popular, more frontwards facing. And I'm like, doesn't that drive you fucking crazy, man? And he's like, nah, like I still get like, I'm paid for it. I'm compensated for it. I know that I did it. He's like, it allows me to do a bunch of other projects rather than one. It's all good. I'm like, good for you, man. Because when I see someone running wild being like, look at what I did, and it was my work, I'd be like, what? Hang on, hold the fucking phone. But yeah, if you can just be about like your money and your happiness and don't need anybody else, it's a healthy way to be.
Yeah. And I honestly, I think it's not a testament to me. I think it is like the environment, like my friends and my family, like they won't
allow it.
Yeah. It just wouldn't, my life would be hell if I became one of these people. So like, I really don't have a choice here. It's not me making this conscious decision. It's just, I know what the repercussions are. So I don't do it. You know what I mean?
And that's like, if you have the right, you can't have the yes men around you. You got to have your family around you. And that's where I think it comes full circle back to like the East Coast thing, kind of where it's just like, this is not how we do it, dude. It's like, shut the fuck up. This is not it. So stop.
There's a very small percentage. I actually don't know this for sure, but it feels this way. There's a very small percentage of people who enjoy social climbing.
Yeah, definitely.
And over there, it's like everybody.
Yes.
It's difficult to figure out who it like just wants to be cool with you, or like,
and who's using you for clout,
and who wants to kind of like social climb, and that's just not an issue here. I don't think about it. I don't ever, people used to say to me like, oh, you ever worried about finding a girlfriend, or people coming up to you asking you for stuff? I was like, that stuff doesn't happen, bro. Like,
no, yeah.
It was like, yo, did people ask you for money when you start? I was like, no, nobody fucking asked me for shit. Like, it never happened.
But that really, again, it's a testament. Like, you're lucky. You're lucky that you got the right people in your life. Because if you do have the people who come around with their hands out, and you do have an expensive entourage and people who are just gonna use you and like dump you on the way down, you're fucked. But having a friend call you out, or a family who just wouldn't even allow you to be like a fancy wiggle dicker on Twitter, it's on TikTok. If you didn't have that, you think if you didn't have that, you'd be more like an asshole.
100%. 100%. I think that everyone is a product of their environment, essentially, and the people you keep around, all those cliche things that those fucking weird ass fucking finance meme pages post. Those are my least favorite thing in the world are those fucking pages. I posted this on my story. I need to read it to you. This is a finance page posted this. Finance page. I don't know what this has to do with finance.
Right.
It's a picture of Peter Dinklage with his daughter on a scooter. They're sharing it. So, and it says
they're sharing one scooter?
Like a Razor scooter.
Okay.
They're both small. Mm-hmm. So it says Peter Dinklage with his daughter on top. And then on the bottom, it says this. This is a finance page. He may not be perfect in looks, but he is surely a perfect father.
What? Which, first of all, is the most fucked up. Like, okay, he's a little guy, he's a little person.
Yeah, he's a freak.
But
he's a good dad. Are you kidding me?
What the fuck? He's a good-looking guy too. I think he's got some good looks. He's just a little bit shorter, but he's still a good dad. So don't fucking hate him. Like
Who is like, yo, thank God they said that.
And
because
you know,
I was about to
it's
go off on Peter Dinklage.
It's the boys over at Goldman, man. It could have been your job over at Goldman Sachs reading that page, dude.
Yo, those pages drive me insane because it's like
they get a lot of followers, man. They get a lot, you know.
I saw that whole industry of like inspiring people and motivating people. It's all a sham to me. Like,
yeah, of course.
It's literally stealing money, in my opinion.
Yes.
But like I saw a page also post some shit. It's like here's how to save money. Or what was it? Here's how to become a millionaire. And I was like, oh great, one meme with like 8 bullet points is going to make.
I've got it. Yeah.
One of the bullet points, and this is not a lie. If you find it, it exists there on the internet. Was save $8,000 a month. What? Like that's just a thing people can do.
That's like when they put up those like here's how to budget, and they put up like rent $200, and everyone's like, where the fuck are we getting $200 rent?
Like
yeah, let me just go ahead and save
parking space, maybe.
Yeah, I mean that's like, you know, okay, how to be a millionaire? Like hit the lottery, win $1 million.
Here's how you be a millionaire. Be a millionaire.
Yeah, save $8,000 until it adds up to $1 million. Great, thanks so much, man.
Yeah, it's ridiculous, man.
It's wild out here. It's a good thing to be a normal person on the internet. I think you're one of the more normal dudes I've ever met on the internet. So stay that way, brother. Never change.
I don't have a choice.
Get rich, stay normal. You know, that's the motto right there. So yeah, you're right. You don't have a choice. It's like, I don't want to be normal. I want to be fancy and famous. They just won't let me. My asshole friends just won't let me.
enjoy what happens when that happens.
All right, man. So what the podcast is Basement Yard and Other People's Lives.
Podcast Basement Yard and Other People's Lives is the other podcast that I do, and then be on the lookout for Pay the Price on coming out probably in June or July.
Oh, okay, cool. So soon,
yeah.
And your IG is just Joe Santagato?
At Joe Santagato on everything.
All right, man. I appreciate the time. Don't be a stranger, and let's do it in person next time when all this bullshit's over.
All right, cool. Thanks, man. Thanks for having me.
Thanks, bro. Have a good one.
To keep up with the latest and best content from the Kevin Clancy Show, as well as the simplest and most entertaining breakdowns of what's going on the internet today, click the subscribe button and hit the bell icon. I know you've heard that a million times, but just do it. It makes my life so much easier. Just click the button, hit the icon, and let me go on my way.